Parshas Vayetzei begins with Vayetzei Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech harana vayifka b'makom vayolan sham. And the Gemara tells us in Brachas that vayifka b'makom is referring to tefillah, that Yaakov was davening. And in fact, the Gemara in Brachas on the Chavav Amud Beis tells us that tefillah's avos tiknun, the tefillah, the davening was instituted by our forefathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Avraham instituted Shacharis, Yitzchak Mincha, and Yaakov Ma'ariv. So the Gemara asks, what about Musaf? So the Gemara says it's really also based on Karbanis as well. The Gemara in Brachas gives us two sources. That Tefillah corresponds to the sacrifices, and or Tefillah corresponds to the Avos. So the beginning of this week's Parsha, Vayifka b'makom, we learn out that Yaakov instituted Tefillah's ereshis. So the question is, the Gemara tells us in Brachas, Adaf Chavav Amud Aleph, Tfilas ha'erev ein la keva, and the Gemara quotes a machlokes on Chav Zayin Amud Beis, what is the nature of Tfilas ereshis? So it's a machlokes in the Gemara, Rabbi Gamliel Omer Chova, Rabbi Yeshua Omer Rishus. So we paskin Tfilas ereshis is Rishus. Tefillah's ereshis is optional. And the question is, why was Yaakov Avinu's tefillah discriminated against? How come when it comes to Shacharis and Mincha, it's mandatory, it's a chova. But Ma'ariv, that's a rishus. So how come, that's the question the Mefarshim are bothered by, how come Ma'ariv is optional? So on that there are a couple of explanations. Some want to point out, based on a Gemara in Shabbos, according to Rashi. Rashi writes over there in Masechah Shabbos, that what do you mean Tfilas ereshis rishus? That only, as we just pointed out, it's a machlokes, it's a dispute whether Ma'ariv is a rishus or a chova. So what does it depend on? That's one machlokes on Chav Zayin, and it's a machlokes on Chav Vav, whether tefillah keneged avos or tefillah keneged karbanos. So based on Rashi, the test Amud Beis Divrei Amaskil Laman, he says, when do we say Tfilas ereshis rishus? That's only according to the opinion that Tfilah is connected to midin tiknum, that Tfilah corresponds to sacrifices. Since it only corresponds to when they brought the burning of the fats and the imurim she'ein ma'akvim kaparasan. So when do we say Tfilas ereshis rishus? That's only if you say Kedeg Karbanas, because it wasn't a special Karban for ereshis. We had the Tamid Shel Shachar and the Tamid Shel Ben Harbayim. That corresponds to Shacharis and Mincha. But we didn't have a Karban at night, so therefore Tfilas ereshis rishus. But Einachinami, according to the opinion that Tfilah Kedeg Avos, so of course Yaakov's Tfilah is Tfilas ereshis is a chova. So that's how some want to point out. I believe that Bnei Yoshua points that out. That even though the Gemara itself never connects the two, but others want to connect the dots there. However, the Tziv points out in the Hemek Shaila and the Shiltis that no, even according to the opinion Tfilas avos tiknun, even if you take the opinion that tefillah corresponds to the karbanos, to the avos, to our forefathers, I still say tefillah ereshis rishus. Because, based on the Gemara in Chulin, the Gemara in Chulin, Sadi Aleph on the base says, because when Yaakov came to Haran, he said, Efshar avarti amacham shezbalal avosai, v'anigo izbalalti, is it possible I'm going to pass by the place of my father's daven, and I'm not going to daven? And therefore, he went ahead and he davened. So, they point out that Yaakov didn't have in mind to institute a special tefillah. He was just davening for another reason, because it wasn't appropriate to go past the place where Abraham and Yitzchak davened, or his forefathers davened, so therefore he davened. So therefore, since Yaakov himself wasn't koveya, didn't institute it for the future, so it's not a chova today. And others point out, based on the Ramban, there's a famous machlokes, Rambam and Ramban, on whether tefillah, prayer, is biblical or rabbinical. The Rambam's opinion is mitzvah aseh l'spalo b'chol yom. It's a biblical mitzvah to daven every day. And the Ramban says no. It's only a rabbinical obligation. However, be'ez sarah, in the time of need, a time of danger, then it's tefillah daraisa, like an earthquake, etc. So it seems to be a fundamental machlokes Rambam and Ramban. The Selevan pointed out that really everyone agrees. The only time tefillah, prayer, is biblical is in the time of need. So what's the machlokes then, the Rambam and the Ramban? The machlokes is, how do you define time of need? The Ramban takes an external factor. If there's war, if there's an earthquake, a hurricane, so then that's an Eisara, then you have a Chiyav Daraisa to daven. However, the Rambam says no, human life, it's all full of frailties, every day is a Sarah. So therefore, every day is a Tefillah B'Eisara. So anyway, that's the way the Rav Selevan explains the machlokes Rambam and Ramban. However, according to the Ramban, Tefillah is Daraisa B'Eisara. And Yaakov Avinu was in an Eisara. He was running away from Esav HaRasha. And therefore, you can't prove from Yaakov Avinu that there's always an obligation to daven Ma'ariv, because maybe he only davened because of a special need of the Eisara. So therefore, Yaakov didn't have in mind, he was just davening because he's running away from Esav. So, however you want to explain it, Tefillas Arvis is a reshus, either according to some, only according to the opinion that Tefillah Keneged Karbanos and Tefillah Keneged Yavos. But if it's according to the Karbanos, then Arvis is only rabbinical, it's only an optional. However, we assume that even Tefillah Keneged Avos, and you could still say it's only a reshus, because Yaakov Avinu was in the time of Eisara. And therefore, you can't bring any lessons about future generations. So that's the halacha, and that's what we paskin. Tefillas Arvis Rishus. And in fact, before we get into Arvis, just to point out, we mentioned last week the Rashi in the beginning of Parshas Toldos, that the Gemara, Rashi based on the Gemara in Yevamos, that Yitzchak's prayer was answered, because Yikeino Dome of a Tefillah Tzadik ben Tzadik, a Tzadik ben Rasha. So we gave explanations there, but to add to that, we can explain as follows. Now what does that mean? Why should it Tzadik, when is a Tzadik ben Tzadik answered more than a Tzadik ben Rasha? Because the question is, we have a Gemara that tells us Tefillah Satzibor is always Nishma, is always accepted. That's the advantage of davening B'tzibor. So someone to point out, when does this halacha apply that we answered Tzadik ben Tzadik? That's Tefillah, when you're davening B'Yechidus on your own, so then that takes into account. If you're davening B'tzibor, everyone's equal. Or others point out the distinction is that in fact some tie it into this. We say Tefillas Avos Tiknun, and Tefillah Keneged Karbanos, and really we have both. So Tefillas Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov daven at different times. They had different needs. You ask for your personal request. Tefillah Keneged Karbanos, it was a set karban for everyone. Chazal set up a Shmona Esrei Kavua. We know at 19 brachas we daven the same every day. So when it comes, and in fact, that's what the Meshach Chochmah explains, that when at the end of Parashas Vayetzei, it says Becharbi of Akashti, with the sword and a bow and arrow. So they point into the Targum Onkelos says, what does it mean Becharbi of Akashti? It doesn't mean with the sword and bow and arrow. It means through tefillah, bitzalusi uvausi, to the different types of prayer.